So it's interesting stuff, because now we're seeing that it's not just the gold rush to streaming, and that there is still value in movie theaters, and there's kind of a shift happening. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Do you think that movie theaters have really made a comeback and that they're going to go on strong? What do you think?
I want to hear what Jacob has to say first.
Well, I would just like to say that I was interviewed on the Steve Cortez show last summer. I believe it was last summer. I have it on my YouTube channel. I cut it. And I predicted the box office would make a comeback. Everyone else, including people that I admire greatly, were saying that, oh no, it's gone. It's just going to be sort of like a every once in a while thing, kind of like the opera or whatever. But no, I predicted that the theater would come back. But I do think the dynamics of the theater has changed. I think that just based on the movies that are doing well. So you have Spider-Man No Way Home. I would also like to point out, just when theaters were starting to open, the English dubbed version of Demon Slayer, which is a Japanese animated film, Demon Slayer Mugen Train, sometimes called Infinity Train. It came over to the States, and it did well at the U.S. box office. All the weebs, including myself, went all hauled our wives, and of course, I did have to do a lot of arm twisting for my wife, but we went and saw it and loved it, and it did really well at the box office. So what I think is going to happen is we're going to see a shift with movie theaters, where it is going to go back to being more of a family experience, kind of the way it was in the 90s. There was a lot of kid movies that came out in the 90s, a lot of animated films that came out in the 90s. So I think that's where we're going to go back to that. So that, and I think the hits sort of show this. Like I said, Demon Slayer was a big hit when it came. Which that's not exactly a family film, but it's just because of the violence. But it's still, anime is kind of seen as a kid's property by people who don't actually watch anime. And then Spider-Man No Way Home, like you were pointing out, just blew everything out of the water. It got so bad, James Cameron actually got nervous and was threatening to, and yes, I do mean threatening, to send Avatar back into the theaters. And then now we've got Top Gun Maverick, which I wouldn't say that's like a movie in the sense that, you would take a kid to see it. I mean, I saw it. I don't think there's that much objectionable content outside of the language, but still it's kind of like you could take your dad to see it, right? You could go see it with your father and enjoy it. It's, because it's a sequel from the 80s and everything. So I think that that's where I see the movie theaters going, is especially we're seeing Skydance Films after what's his name, John Lasseter, who was the former director of Pixar. He got booted from Pixar because they got scared over a scandal that went nowhere. So Skydance picked him up, and they're starting to say he is now creating Pixar style films for Skydance, because they see that's where it's headed. So I think that's where we're going to go. It's going to be where we're probably going to see a lot more family films, a lot more family content. Some of them are going to be boundary pushing, but I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to kind of revert back to the way it was in the 90s. Like, for instance, The Northman, incredibly violent, very adult oriented entertainment. I just saw it last night, loved it. I have a review coming out on Monday, and but it didn't do that well at the box office. However, it did good video on demand rentals. So that's more people saw it that way because they knew they could watch it after they put the kids to bed. So I think that's a trend we're going to see. If I can, I've been wrong before, but that's where I'm reading the tea leaves just based on the successes. So that's what I think.
If you liked that video, I would really appreciate it if today was the day you chose to subscribe. Be sure to leave me a comment and tell me what you thought about the video. No matter what platform you are watching on, I'm on multiple, so please like the video, subscribe, leave me a comment, share it out. It really helps me in the algorithm. You can follow me on all my socials. They're in the video description. And be sure to head over to my website, StudioJakeMedia.com. If you would like to support me, head over to my locals page, which is StudioJakeMedia.locals.com. Sign up there. I've got exclusive content. I've got all the postings from my vidcast and from my website, not to mention links where you can purchase my novels. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.